Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So in our last video, we talked about the importance of joyful alternatives, of reorienting our attention toward what it is that we do want to be doing. Really, really important, the role of joy and vitality in our lives. And in this video, we'll be diving into the framework from the science of human motivation and behavior change called self-determination theory. It's one of the most researched and respected models for understanding what really drives sustainable change, not just in psychology, but this framework is used in education, in healthcare, and even in workplace leadership. And it's also incredibly relevant when we're talking about reshaping our media patterns and looking for how do we build sustainable change? How do we not just detox for a week and then go right back to our old habits? So, self-determination theory was developed by psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan in the 1980s. From here on out, I'll refer to self-determination theory. It even kind of is what it sounds like, self-determination, right? This idea of a theory of motivation. I'll refer to it as SDT. So, SDT is a theory of human motivation. What makes people feel engaged and willing to put in effort, even and especially when it's hard? And it turns out the answer is not external reward or punishment, contrary to what many of us have been taught. So Deci and Ryan found that we're most likely to grow and sustain positive behaviors when three basic psychological needs are met. So we'll go through them one by one. The first of the psychological needs is autonomy, the feeling that we are in control of our own actions. You'll often hear me refer to this as agency. I use those sort of interchangeably. Autonomy, agency, referring to this idea that we have the ability to shape our own future. The second psychological need is competence. And so this is the feeling that we are good at something or making progress. So feeling competent, that we know what we're doing, that we're good at it, that we're moving forward. We can probably all relate to that feeling. And the third one is relatedness. This is the feeling of connection and belonging with others. And so the feeling that not only what I'm doing matters for my life, but it has value and meaning for the folks around me. So let's walk through them one by one, starting with autonomy, or the idea that you are in charge of your own life. And autonomy doesn't necessarily mean being super individualistic and independent all the time. What it really means is feeling like your actions are self-endorsed. You are making the choices that reflect your values, not just reacting to algorithms. I really appreciate autonomy and agency in the classroom, giving students choice. When they have choice and agency in their own learning, they learn more, they're more engaged, they're more motivated. And so if we apply this to changing our media behavior, you can think about how often are you picking up your phone because you want to versus because you have to, or because you're bored or anxious, or it just buzzed at you. So in this course, we are reclaiming our autonomy and agency, and not by throwing our phones away, because that's not realistic in our world, but rather by choosing how we use them, choosing what we give our attention to. That is real, authentic power. The second psychological need is competence. It's that satisfying feeling of, I'm getting the hang of this. Often folks who are gamers, or whenever you're learning a new skill, you get this feeling like, oh, I'm getting it. And that feeling really helps drive motivation. So when you try something and notice improvement, when you keep a promise to yourself, when you follow through on a boundary, even just one time. So we want your new media patterns to support the feeling of competence. That's why we're starting small. So instead of focusing on restriction or guilt, we're experimenting in tiny changes that can lead to really meaningful changes. Maybe for you, that's turning off notifications or replacing 10 minutes of scrolling after work with a walk, or putting on a playlist that really helps shift your mood. And when you feel the progress, That's competence. And that will continue to fuel your motivation to keep going. So start really small, just a little change, and then notice, oh, that feels good. I'm getting it. Oh, I didn't check my phone first thing in the morning. That's what will keep you going. The third psychological need that's part of self-determination theory is relatedness, this feeling that we're not alone in this, the feeling of connection. We are fundamentally social creatures, and we long to be seen and understood and valued. And for better or worse, social media often sells us performative connection, while at the same time kind of taking and draining the energy we need for the real thing. So the question to contemplate here is, what if your media habits actually supported your relationships? Could you choose content that inspires conversations with people you care about? Could you reach out and call a friend instead of scrolling past their post? And it might feel weird the first time, right? To call someone and say, hey, I saw your post and I just had to call you. It's interesting timing that I'm recording this video today because just yesterday, one of my best friends who I hadn't talked to in probably 6 months or a year, a very good friend of mine, called because she had seen my post. And the depth of connection, then we talked on the phone for, I don't know, over an hour and caught up about everything and how good that felt. She didn't even like the post, but the real connection that happened because of her making that choice to call instead of just scrolling past my post felt so good. And this feeling of relatedness reminds us we feel better when we feel connected, not just online, but in real life to real people we care about. The beauty of self-determination theory is that it helps us understand why certain intentions work and others don't. So goals that are rooted in guilt or shame or pressure from others, they won't stick. So if our goals are coming from a place of like, oh, I'm such a mess, I have to get my TikTok time down, and that kind of emotional feeling behind the goal or intention probably isn't going to work. But when our actions meet those three needs of autonomy, belief in ourselves, competence, I'm getting it, and relatedness, I have closeness with other human beings and I'm valued by them, then we're more likely to stay with our goals and intentions in the long term. The little changes we make begin to snowball and add up. And because they feel good, we keep going and we feel the truth of that good feeling growing and growing. And it becomes natural to keep going, not something we're having to force ourselves into doing. And this reconnects us to something deeper, to the life we actually want to be living, the life we deserve to be living. So for now, just pay attention to those three key ingredients: autonomy, competence, and connection. Where are they showing up for you? Where might you want more? How might you be able to change the circumstances of your either physical or digital reality to create more autonomy, competence, and connection? In the next video, we will explore the science of positive psychology and what it teaches us about building a life that feels good to live, not through pressure or shame, but by amplifying what already brings us joy, purpose, and clarity. You're doing great. Keep going, and I'll see you next time.